Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another ranked Theros Beyond Death draft. This is going to be a best of one draft. It's still around for the next week. And of course, we have over 5,000 gold, so we are going to buy into this event with gold. So, without any further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into it. Alright, and we have our pack one, pick one scenario. Of the commons of note here, Loathsome Chimera, solid 3-drop in the format, 4 power matters in the red-green deck. This has escape, solid card all around. Other uncommon that catches my eye is Omen of the Sea. Anything that gives you card draw is always good. This does it for pretty cheap and can get you some extra scries later. So this is nice. So we have 2 nice commons there. Revoke Existence is fine. Sometimes you just want to be able to deal with artifacts and enchantments. Good in the more controlling white decks. Uncommon-wise, we have 3 good uncommons. Acolyte of Affliction, great gold card. This does exactly what green-black wants to do. Some self-mill, recursion, grindy value stuff. Agonizing Remorse is a good card. You're able to pluck something out of your opponent's hand, or if that doesn't matter late game. See, the problem with these effects is usually late game you draw them, the opponent doesn't have any cards in hand. It feels pretty bad. For this one, though, you can at least use it to nag an escape card, keep it from coming back, so that extra flexibility helps the card out a lot. Threnody Singer, good 2-drop. You're able to flash this in. You might be able to set up a good block then. It's good late game. And a 1/3 flyer for 2 is, something that's just perfectly acceptable as is. But of course, we come to our rare, and this is not one of the most bomby rares in the whole format, but it is solid. Our last draft, we went green-black, and we were able to actually tutor out Pelucranos with Gravebreaker Lamia. A 4/4 for 5 with lifelink that has enchantment synergies. You get to tutor out a good escape card, whatever your best one is, and then you get to cast that card a little bit cheaper. Now, the limiting resource on escape is typically not how much mana you have, but rather how many cards you have in your yard to fuel the escape. So that last line of text doesn't matter quite as much as you might think. But it's definitely going to be the pickup here. Monocolor card. And overall, really solid for what black wants to do. We'll hope to try to pick up some escape and enchantment matter stuff with it. But it's a solid card. We'll take the rare here. Alright, pack 2. We have 1 black card already, so we want to value black cards a little bit more. And Bot took the rare out of the pack, so we won't know what that is. Of commons of note, the Forerunner's fine. Final Death, it's not cheap premium removal, but it is no questions asked removal that deals with anything that has escape or late game value. This just exiles it, gone forever. Fantastic card, likely the pickup here, but we'll take a look at the uncommons real quick. Eutropia, good in the green-blue enchantment fall deck. This is a fine splash sometimes. Solid card, but we have a black card already, which means getting pulled into too many directions isn't really what we want to have. Devourer of Memory, another gold card here. This works with some of the, blue-black self-mill. It does feel like it's a more aggressive card than blue-black typically is. Blue-black typically wants to be this grindy, control-your deck, whereas this one says, hey, I want to be a little bit more aggro. I think it does work with the Lamia. Yeah, so this would actually work with our rare, because with the Lamia, we get to tutor out something from the library into the graveyard, which would actually trigger Devourer of Memory. That's something to think about here. Heliod's Punishment I only like in aggressive decks. This is 2 mana lockdown something for 4 turns. But as soon as the 4 turns are over, they get it back and you're down a card. So if you're using those 4 turns to win the game, I like it. But if you're not, you're essentially just having a little bit of a tempo play. This is more of a red-white card or even a green-white aggro deck card. Here, I don't think there's too much question. We just want the final death. solid answer to difficult things in the format. So we've gone black card, black card. We, of course, want to prioritize black cards a little bit higher because of that. Here, this looks like a fairly weak pack overall. None of the commons are really things I want to take this highly in the draft. And even the uncommons, I don't really like Underworld Fires. People are already shying away from X1s just because of Mogi's favor, so this is not good removal. Triumph, I have yet to see this card be good. The fight is so televised that your opponent gets to set up in preparation for it, and I haven't found the +X+O with Trample to be relevant. And then there's Cling to Dust, which is, it's sort of an okay black card. This is an overall pretty throwaway pack, but we will think about this here in context. So, of the black cards, if I'm choosing, Cling to Dust is okay, but we have other stuff we'd really like to probably be doing with our graveyard than escaping this. Funeral Rites and Aspect of Lamprey. Again, these are... Funeral Rites is fine, and that might end up being the pick here. Aspect, again, same problem with all auras. If your opponent gets to remove the card in response to you casting it, you don't even get this effect. And if something wearing it dies, you're 2 for 1. This one does rip cards out of their hand, so it's a little bit better. But again, if you cast this and they snipe the creature out from under you, you've taken a pretty big hit tempo-wise there. They get a 2 for 1 on you. Looking at the other cards, Flicker is okay in black-white. There's some fine things to Flicker. You know, flickering the Lamia, being able to pull another escape card to our yards, decent value. The Instructor can help fuel our yard if we were blue-black. None of these red cards are to sacrifice. Synergy. And the green cards aren't particularly green-black recurry, so I think we're pretty sad about it, but we're going to take a Funeral Rites. In this black deck, we're likely looking to run one, but this pack was super weak, and I didn't really like anything in there. This pack, bit better. A bit, not by much. Looking through the commons... Ones that catch my eye are Final Flare. If we're the red-black sacrificey deck, this is an alright removal spell, especially if we're stealing things, but stealing something with the threaten effect and then casting this is 7 mana in a turn, and typically the red-black deck's not going to get quite to 7 mana. It's really hard to pull off. It's not consistent. Lampad, solid card, something where we'd likely be interested in. Aspect, again, we just talked about this last pack. I'm not super high on it. Heliod's Pilgrim is actually a pretty solid card. This tutors up an aura, and then you get to shuffle up your library. So, for example, we would prioritize some good white auras in that case. And black-white auras is definitely a deck that we can be thinking about getting into here. The uncommons... both red, that's worth noting, so it could be that red is a little bit more open than the other colors. The Dream Shaper Shaman's fine. This is 6 mana. It's not really what red-black wants to be doing. This is a little bit more in the green-red 4-power matters deck, but we're not really looking to run it if we are black-red. And the Maze Warden, again, not something we're super likely to be running in black-red. So I think this comes down to, do we want the Pilgrim, which is objectively the better card, and we get to prioritize auras a little bit higher, or do we just want to stay the course, be heavy black, really cut black hard here, and take the Lampad, which is the weaker card? And I think this early, I want to take the Pilgrim. It gives us an extra copy of our best aura. We don't have any yet, but we can be on the lookout. Speaking of good auras, Let's see. Of the commons, Hero of the Pride being here. That's a good aggressive card. Careless Celebrant is really a pretty powerful card in the red-black sacrifice deck. We already talked a little bit about the red being a little bit more open potentially because we saw 2 uncommons that hadn't been taken. This is another one that sort of is giving me a sign that red might be open this draft. This is great. You're able to sack it to shock something. It can trade off and still do that. This is just a great card. Staggering Insight. It's a little bit farther away from what we want to be doing right now. This is a great aura and a reason to be white-blue. And we have some other decent white-blue cards here. We could follow that signal to some degree. But we have 3 good, 2 solid black cards. And again, these are potentially, we could just splash one and or the other one of those and still be happy. This Funeral Rites is not something I'm super excited about. So really right now, our deck looks like this. We're not, really settled into a lane quite yet. So we do want to know white-blue looks open. We might take the Staggering Insight on a flyer for that. Or we can push down the line of red-black sacrifice with the Celebrant, which is just objectively a pretty good card. On power level, these are very nearly the same in my book. And because this one's gold, I think I'm just going to take the Celebrant. We're probably a little sad we did that now because I see, 3 decent blue cards, getting a little bit later in the pack here. Of commons, Final Flare, again, red-black sacrifice. It looks like we could be going down that route. This has the best home there as a decent removal spell. Temple Thief, fine 2-drop. Very well might take it here. It's just, 2-drop for our black deck. Rage Scarred Berserker, a little bit expensive. We already have 2 5-mana spells. I'm not super high on just taking a more or less, keyword stats card here. Blue cards are fine, but we're pretty far away from that here at this point. We're not doing, a ton with enchantments right now to fire up the giant, and we're not doing a ton with flash to make the Rip Turtle at its best. Sentinel's Eyes, if we're the black-white deck, we would like one of those. Field of Ruin is basically unplayable in limited. Don't take this card. It has a homing constructed. That's what it's here for, but we don't want it for a limited deck. Stinging Lionfish is it's a very reasonable card. Really wants to be blue-red, playing with the flash, but it's a tempo-y card. Right now we have stuff that wants us to be more grindy, a little bit more recursive, so I'm not liking it super high here. Pick 6, I'd really rather this be a little bit better, but we'll go ahead and take the Final Flare, hedging towards the red-black sacrifice deck. And now we have, reasonable green cards, but right here I see 3, pretty decent blue cards that still aren't taken out of this pack. We also have a Traveler's Amulet. Traveler's Amulet, good way to be splashing in this format. And this also does say sacrifice, so if we had stuff that paid us off for sacrificing things, Traveler's Amulet is something that can trigger the sacrifice. I know we're pretty far away from it, but right now I'm getting the strong suspicion that blue is open. If we're blue-red, we already have 2 cards for. And we can, of course, splash, a Final Death. So red-blue instant speed stuff might be the deck that we're looking to get into. The green cards here are fine, but I'm not super excited about them. And we've seen a lot of good blue cards go. I think I'm going to take a flyer on a Lionfish, hedging our bets towards blue just a little bit here. The rest of the pack is sort of meh. We could, of course, also still be blue-black. Devourers. This is the second one we've seen. It's still in the pack pick 8, so no one else has taken it. We might get another one to come around. And black-blue, This might end up, being a little bit more black-blue tempo. Final Death could be the top end. Lamia might still find a home there. Not super interested in Brine Giant. We're not doing the enchantment stuff very hard right now. Nyxborn Marauder, it's filler. Not excited. Same thing with the Aspect. Green cards aren't super exciting. Wings is not great in a deck that looks like this, so I think I take a flyer on the Devourer as well. Back to pick 9. Here we had 2 gold cards, but I don't think either one was the Devourer. I think that's coming around in the next pack, potentially. Here, we still have some stuff that's hedging Red-Black Sack. Red-Black Sacrifice wants to have Portent. We'll be very interested in picking up Sack outlets if that's the case. So I think we'll go ahead and take the Portent here. This is basically all filler. Not looking to run Rapid Flames if we're red-blue, red-black, so I think I just take like Glory Bearers. These have been overall pretty weak packs this draft. An Oread. Find filler. We could be doing blue stuff. So Riptide Turtle's not the worst. I'll throw it on the board. Here we get a blue card. Find 2-drop. Put it there. Be thinking about it. This Lionfish coming back around. That's wow. Blue does seem like it's open. Okay, so just sort of assessing what we have so far. We took 2 good black cards, first and second pick, and then it really didn't flow. We took, a couple decent red cards for Red-Black Sacrifice. We have the Devourer of Memory and a couple good blue cards. We saw blue being fairly open. Our rare here, despite being 2 of the colors that we want, is more or less unplayable. It's a 2-4 for 3 that's hard to cast, and basically the rest of it just doesn't really matter. I guess if you picked up Shadow Spear, you would be happy to run this, but everything else, not super excited for that. Uncommon-wise, Timuret, amazing black card. This is some of the best graveyard hate in the whole format, and it comes on an already playable 2-drop. Horn Beetle we're pretty far away from. That wants to be red-green. 4-power stuff, we're not in that direction basically at all. Thundering Chariot is, nice, and it is colorless, but it's not very exciting here. I would want to lean towards taking a blue or red card since we saw those be more open last pack. However, at the same time, these blue and red cards aren't really exciting me in this pack. So I think I want to take one of the better cards, which is either Timuret or Blight Breath Catablepus, and Timuret's a cheaper card. It does want us to play black, but this is pretty powerful. I think it's worth taking here. Okay, a lot of white cards here. Wow, half the pack's white cards. We've got a few options. So right now we have we got, decent stuff in a variety of colors, but nothing super great. I mean, our best cards are definitely black, and we have a couple decent red cards, and we've seen blue be open. Here, Commanding Presence is good, and we can still consider, pulling in this Pilgrim, doing black-white. And yes, Cool Trader, we're getting to that, but I think seeing it here, I want to take Thrill. And the main reason for that is right now, the folks over at Lords of Limited talked about this, I think just this last week on the podcast. It was called the Escape Hatch, and their plan was having a deck that, when things aren't going well, you end up taking Thrill of Possibilities and doing a 5-color deck with it. And right now, I'm not seeing much else. We would end up, going into even more colors if we take something else here. I guess, Deny the Divine. We could hedge towards blue-black a little bit. But this is not super exciting for a pick 2. Feel Sleep of the Dead. Yes, we don't have a Sleep of the Dead yet, but that will be something we want to look for potentially. Here, I do think we take Thrill, and we're going to see if maybe we end up doing 5-color Nonsense. Here, I see a Mire Triton. Mire Triton's just a great black card. We have arguably 3 of our best cards are black cards at this point, so I want to just snap up a Mire Triton here. Okay, and things may be turning around a little bit. We have Fateful End and Irose's Blessing as, the 2 best cards in this pack by a pretty wide margin. So I'm a little bit more off blue here. Red-black looks to be right. Irose's Blessing is something that we're able to sacrifice later with a couple of the sacrifice payoffs. It is 4 damage as opposed to 3. This is instant speed. Gets us a scry. I like Fateful End a little bit better, just because you can cast it when the opponent may have mana up for removal, whereas Blessing, you really don't want to get blown out by having the creature removed out from under the Blessing before it can resolve. So I think we'll take Fateful End as just, probably the best card in this pack, but Irose's Blessing's a close second. Okay. Here, Final Flare, Trickster, okay, red cards. I think I'm willing to take a Hateful Eidolon. We don't have any ways to really enchant things yet, but it's something we can look for. This makes Mire's Grasps a lot better. It's a fine 1-drop, and I'm not super thrilled about anything else in this pack, so we'll take this, sort of be hoping that we get some enchantments come around. Alright, here we're doing... Well, initially I saw the Lampat and figured we might want the Sack Outlet, but then I saw the Incendiary Oracle, and this is just objectively the better card. 2/2 for 2 that can pump, and it exiles things, which is super relevant with all the escape running around in this format. We're just going to take our good 2-drop. Interesting. I saw this Chimera, I thought maybe we'd want to go that way, splash some blue, for like the Devourer of Memory, but then there's just another Incendiary Oracle, and we're a bit of an Icicle here at 2, but if we take out these blue cards... And is there anything we're not super stoked to run here? If we're cutting all blue. That looks a lot better, and if we're only 2 colors, we're not running the Thrill necessarily. Yeah, with 2 Lionfish, it is certainly more tempting, and we do have blue. Yeah, I think I agree here, Cool Trainer, that I think our black cards are just better here, and it looks like at this point, I definitely want to play red. We don't have anything super great, but another Oracle helps that conversation. It's just another good 2-drop. And at this point, we are leaning a little bit more aggressive. I think we just take a Rage-Scarred Berserker. We could also hedge 1 Memory Drain just in case we decide to double back to blue. It's getting kind of late here to be waffling, but I'm not excited about either Infuriate or Rage-Scarred in a red-black sacrifice deck, so I'm going to... It does look weak here. All of these decisions here have felt pretty weak. We started out with a Gravebreaker Lamia into Final Death, and we thought, alright, we're going to do that Glimpse or Rage. Yeah, we might just be short on playables, so let's just grab the Rage Scarred. I hope not to play it, with these other 5-drops here, but may end up happening. We really want to have some sacrifice outlets, and as of right now, we have, you know what, one final flare. We're an Icicle at 2, and I don't really want to be running, you know, multiple Oreads and Mountains Blaze, so I think I'm going to take the second Portent here, and we're really going to be trying to find some sack outlets to utilize them. And now we're on the blue-white plan. We'll take Deny. Works about the best with our sideboard blue if we end up having to do something along those lines. Stampede Rider is a 3. I don't want to run it, but right now we just want to try to hit playables. Thief. These don't matter super much. Reps could make it, so let's just take a look at the deck right now. It looks like we want to be red-black sacrifice, but we don't really have sack outlets, and we don't have any escape to go get with the Lamia, which is kind of a nombo there right now. We do have the Funeral Rites. We play that in this deck so far, so this is what we have so far. It looks like we're going to hit playables, but I'm not super happy with the way this is coming together. We'll take the Rapid Flames. Well, alright then. Alright then. So this pack, this is much stronger than any, you know, most of the packs that we've seen up to this point. Of course, let's talk about the elephant in the room, Thassa. Thassa right now, I think I have 3 copies made, so this would make the 4th. It would round out the playset. And I'm usually pretty high on taking... Oh, wait, this is the second account. I don't have any Thassas. Thassa is nice. What are we doing with Thassa if we take it? Are we able to bounce anything? Mire Triton bounce is interesting. Bouncing the Lamia is kind of nice. Rage Guard doesn't matter because of when it happens. Bouncing the Lamia would be nice if we were, you know, blue-black recurring stuff. All of the red and black cards here don't excite me. So I think I'm willing to take the Thassa off based on that. There's a chance we still play blue this draft, and Thassa's powerful there. Plus, you get to hear their cool roar. Oh, goodness. Well, just for completeness, let's go ahead and do this for right now. I don't think we're white, but everything else is still in the conversation here. We'd really like to have sack outlets if we were doing red-black, and right now we have 7 chances at seeing them. We're not even sure if they're coming around. What does curve look like with everything? Again, a bit of an icicle at 2. We're not running the Hateful Eidolon if we don't have much to do with it. We have probably our black cards are most powerful, but let me run something by everyone here real quick. We wouldn't run the Eidolon. Triton's fine, but let's just say we're not. Let's just say we're not. Yeah, that's potential. Right now we're not running that. Here is a red-blue deck that is splashing black for Devour and Final Death. If we're that deck, what do we pick up here? I see a 1 with the stars is just decent removal. If we're red-black sack, the Piper's fine, but it's an X1. I'm not super high on X1s in this format because of Mogi's favor. The red cards here are, you know, okay at best. Not enough discard for sleep. No, we don't have that right now. And even then, this is not doing a ton. Is this? Oh, this is a sack outlet. I totally missed it. This was the sack outlet. Good catch. Not used to this being the one that you're looking for. It's normally lamp pads and the 2 drops. But this, that is a sack outlet we can use. 1 mana sack outlet too. So let's go back to the red-black deck here. I just like looking at it here a couple of different ways. So we take this, we have our sack outlet. And we're probably not running Rage Guard then. Oh, again. We have 3 portents. If we had even just, you know, a few more sack outlets, I would be loving it right now. As it stands, this is kind of expensive. It is technically a sack outlet, though. It does let us sack things at the beginning of our end step. And when does portent... So we would still have things because of portent. It's 7 mana. But if this is out, we already have 6. We can sacrifice things to spin the wheel. And I'm not really seeing much else. Impending Doom is like the only other thing. But I don't think that's our deck. So let's take it. Hey, alright. Oh, it had to be in the pack with another Oracle. But here, Lampad, that's the kind of sack outlet that I've been looking for. We'll take it here. Underworld Ragehound is at least one escape card we can go get. We'll grab it up. Don't love that. Another Portent or a Thrill. We could Thrill just for cards with 2 Portents. I'm not running more without more sack outlets. So yeah, let's just take a second Thrill. Oh. This draft has not necessarily gone the way I've wanted. We don't have that. That's not doing much. That's not doing much. So we can take the 3/4 that we can pump. Or the 4/3. 3/4 or 4/3. Both of... all of the cards we're looking at here really are 4 drops. I think we take the 3/4. Gives us some flexibility. Well, I don't love it, but let's take a War Leader. Just, it's another sack outlet. Here, we'll Bronze Sword, see if there's a chance. I'll take the Portent. Vault Progress, doesn't matter. And could even make the cut. So I am, well, I'm less than thrilled about this deck at this point. I don't think we're running the Devourer. We can't afford the hit it makes on the mana. Yeah, Sword was about the best thing we could have taken from that pack. So there was definitely a chance to get into the blue deck at some point. We didn't find that point. We thought we had better things to do. So maybe when I go back, look through that log, I find that something else was better there. Eidolon, we have actual 0 things that trigger it, so I'm not in for it here. We have a lot of things that want to put stuff in the yard, but we have exactly 1 escape creature to take advantage of it, which is, again, not really where you want to be. I think we end up cutting some 2s here. I like basically all our 2 creatures. Maybe we cut a Thrill. At least 1 Thrill. I'm not loving the Stampede Riders, but we really don't have any other 3-drop creatures. Arena Trickster, we're not doing much at instant speed. Let's just cut it. Oh, and I definitely don't like Rapid Flames. Well, Thief, Rider, Trickster. Yeah, that was. Is that what we ended up cutting? I don't. Oh, the Rapid Flames. I'm not super in for that here. It's good in the red-white heroic deck where you can actually throw one of the triggers onto your hero creature, pump your team, and also make two things unable to block. There, it's good. But here, I'm not loving it. 2 portents is probably enough. We only have, what, 1, 2, 3, technically 4 sack outlets. Oh, I guess 5 with Final Flare. But I don't want to run more than 2 portents. I don't love the Stampede Rider, but I think we need a 3-drop creature. And let's go ahead and run it like this. This is definitely underpowered, but we'll see if we can get there some games. Oh, and let's go ahead and change our sleeves. Let's make us look a little bit more threatening. Run the second Thrill. What do we cut for the second Thrill is my question. We could cut a Thief, but this is just a fine 2-drop. Maybe we cut an Oriad's a Mountain's Blaze. They do sort of the same thing. This is a creature. Thrill is not, but Thrill does do the thing cheaper. So if we're running second Thrill, I would run it like that. Thief and Rider. So cutting Thief, cutting Rider, and adding in what, though? I kind of feel like we're stacked here at 5. I would love some 4-drops, but Arena Trickster's like our 4-drop? And what are we doing at instant speed to trigger that? I guess the Thrills now? Final Flare, potentially. And Final Death, only 3 things that we can do with it. I guess 4, 2 Thrills. Yeah, I think Trickster's just bad here. Revelers is not the card I want. So how do we go any more late game than this, other than bringing in 5-drops? And I feel like we're already, borderline bloated here at 5. Not loving splashing blue either. I think this is just the deck. So how does this play out? We get some 2-drops on board, and occasionally they just run over the opponent. 3 and 4 to support 2-drops. Yeah, I wish we had more 3 and 4-drops, but we ended up taking, some half-decent 2-drops over some mediocre 3 and 4-drops, and maybe that was bad for curve considerations. But what I see is, we do turn 2, 2-drop, turn 3, 2-drop, turn 4, spell, turn 5, one of these big fatties, and hope that's enough. That doesn't feel super great. Oracle threatens to pump. This is something to do with our mana late game. We do have 1 Oriad to pitch lands. Cut Thief for a Berserker. Yeah, if we cut Thief, bring in Berserker, what does that look like? That really feels like we're bloated at 5. Hi, Timnos. We had a little bit of a rough draft there. Nothing really was presenting itself. And, pack 3, we ended up just rare drafting up a Thassa. But we're looking at some sort of red-black sack deck at this point. And just sort of trying to figure out how we have to tweak it here. I guess I like the 5-drops a little bit more here because we do have the Thrills. If it's early game, we can just pitch one, put it in the yard, and I don't hate that. So, yeah, with the 2 Thrills, I'm kind of alright having, that extra 5-drop there, Cool Trainer. And I don't think we have anything else really late game to bring in. Thassa, but we're not doing anything with it. So yeah, let's just go ahead with this, and it also makes the Dream Shaper spins a little bit better with, you know, one extra 5-drop there that we could potentially spin into. So let's go ahead, run it like this, and see how it goes. Oh, we should give it a name. What do we want to do? Spin the make rider. Yeah, it does make rider a little bit better too. Did I get that to be the T? I did. Spin the wheel. We wanna use Dream Shaper to spin that wheel, so we'll do that. All right, let's see how the deck performs here. And what do we think par is for this deck? Yeah, I think early in pack 1, we sort of saw a blue signal, but we didn't end up going for it. This is a quick mulligan. This is where, you know, this is Thrill of Possibilities. It suddenly becomes infinitely more keepable, but ugh. Alright, this seems fine. We have 5-drop we want to play, so I think I just pitched the Portent here. We also don't have the sack outlet. I see your Mire Triton opponent, and I raise you Mire Triton. Rage Scarred. This would even be a lot better if we had, like, you know, one Omen of the Dead even. Well, that made it a little bit better. Now we can drop the Rage Hound. Let's go ahead and get in there. I'm willing to trade off Mire Triton. Just drop the Rage Hound. Right, this would have been Thief otherwise, and either way, it's in the graveyard, so who cares? Alright, they scry to the bottom. Not bad, not bad. We can attack in here. This is 4 and 3 other cards, which we actually have right now. We have to attack with it. They see that possibility, so I think here we just go ahead and run out an Oracle. See what the opponent wants to do. Piper. That's something nice. If we can steal and sack it, we'll get the goat instead of them. Probably swing in with a familiar. No, they don't. It's kind of nice. We'll go ahead and get in there with the Rage Hound, see if they want to trade now. I don't really want to trade the Oracle right now for their 2-1. Sleep of the Dead? Oh, Chain of Memory. Alright. Yeah, so they get to just eat it. I guess it technically costs them a card. They're looking for lands, is my guess. They've missed a land drop at this point. I don't think it's worth final flaring here. We'll just let that die and recast it. Now if we can get the Piper out of there, we have good attack with the Hound. Alright, they take away our good attack with the Hound. Hey, it's Timmy! We can start eating their yard. That doesn't feel so bad. That has to get in there. Not great for us, but happen. Let's just go ahead and drop Timuret. Gives us some stuff to do. And we can, of course, pitch a card to go ahead and find more. I want to hold on to the War Leader. Final Flare doesn't seem super great here. But it is removal. I guess we also have Final Death. Yeah, let's just hold it here. There's nothing I really want to take out with it. If they show us something that we really want to take out, you know, we could fire it off. Sack the Oracle. Okay. If we just attack, do we have a good attack with the Oracle? I don't think so. So let's just hold stuff up. Yeah, if he gets to hit his 5-drop, it'll feel nice to be able to flare that. Alright. They get to draw a card, and then... Oh, game. I wanted to pause there. So I'm going to eat it while I have a shot right now. They get to hit our Rage Hound, so I'm going to steal it before they even get a chance. So that we can get a life at least off of it. He's at 39 card. Oh gosh. I didn't even realize this opponent has a much thicker library than we do, so they might be interested in just milling us to death. I hadn't even noticed that. So let's just use Timuret. Eat 2 more of their things. Yeah, we might have been able to thrill. They're not doing great stuff. We can Oread. Let's just keep getting on board, I think. And we'll thrill away the flare. Unless they put something in their yard that we really want to eat. We just need one of our fatties out at this point, and this game looks a lot different. We can start attacking in. And with the decking situation, decking's not an option for us. I don't mind you know, just stacking the Oread if we need to Final Flare. And I think we need to throw for land so that we can at least War Leader. Okay, we at least get to War Leader. And do we have an attack? I guess we have an attack with the Oracle right now. We can threaten to double pump it to take out both of their Eidolons if they block like that. They can also just block with Harpy, which I don't love. But we have another Oracle in hand too, so I like sending the Oracle here. we'll just take the 1-for-1 here. Yeah, I agree. The threat of counter magic's a little bit harsh here. So let's rights and look for a pause. No pause. And let's just go ahead and Oracle. And yeah, so they very might well have the 3 mana. It was No Escape in War of the Spark. I forget what it's called here. Deny the Divine. That's it. Yep, alright. You got that one, opponent. Kill spell coming in. Well, now we can just drop the Dreamshaper Shaman when they don't have counter magic up. We don't have any attacks, but we do have a Dreamshaper Shaman now. That's something. We'll probably sack that Oread. There's the removal. We don't have blocks. Alright, we're gonna keep searching. No counter magic up here, so we can War Leader and Death's Vigil. Still no attacks. Actually, we do have an attack with the Timeret now. That extra 1 black devotion matters. And yeah, at this point, we'll hold land. There's nothing else that we can realistically be doing. And we probably just have to kill that thing. With the exception being, you know, top deck port. Celebrant would kill it, but it'll be out of range of Celebrant. So let's just final death it. That seems like a big enough threat that we gotta just do that. Let's go ahead and Careless Celebrant. And do we have attacks? We do have an attack with the War Leader. They can just put the goat on it to not take damage, but I'm kind of alright with that here. Okay. We're looking a little bit better. We can actually... We can use the land pad to sack the Careless Celebrant to take out an Eidolon. And we want to use our mana to eat up their creatures in yard. And do we have creatures in yard? We have 1. And let's go ahead and pitch one of these. See what we get. A Lamia. How does that help us here? It is potentially life. The lifelink could very much so matter. But right now we have an attack with the War Leader. They can't just block it, or we use the activated ability, sack the Celebrant. So they're not going to take that. Let's just go ahead and drop the Gravebreaker Lamia. That's why I played the land there, so they for sure have it. And we don't have anything we want to pitch to the yard. I guess we just throw a mountain to the yard, thin the deck a little bit. I don't think this is going to end up coming down to milling at this point, and we're losing that anyways, so we might as well lose it just a little bit faster so that we're drawing action. Oh, it's Bad Breath Cow. -2/-2 on. It doesn't kill anything, and if it kills the Celebrant, we just take out one of their Eidolons. Or I guess we just take out the Blight Breath right back. These are extra cards for them, but they have 2. Just kill the thing with more power. Pitch a land, draw. Hey, there's a War Leader. That's something they'll have to contend with. And if we send in the Lamia, they have what, a triple block on it? But we take out one of those two. If they double block, we take out the Wave Rider. And we gain some life. Or, you know, we can just sit here and tank long enough that the opponent scoops. I felt really bad in that game, and I guess the opponent had to go to bed. Cool. Alright, we hit gold rank. Let's see if the deck can actually get there one of these times. Yeah, I don't think... So, there are times to put more than 40 cards in a deck in this format, but blue-black, I have never heard that that's a place to be doing that. So, I don't think the opponent's deck was particularly good there. It could be that they're just learning still. We'll go ahead and keep this. I see a turn 2 play. We can pitch extra lands so that we don't flood too hard, and we have, you know, a 3-4 on 4. Seems alright. So, because we have Timuret, we have to go Swamp Swamp. No real options there. They could Agonizing Remorse here, take Timuret, and in that case we can just land Thrill Away a land. But we have 4 into 5, so I kind of like the lands right now. We could... I think we still just Timuret. It won't be able to block, but we can trade damage for a minute. And now we have a play on turn 3. I like holding on to this just a little bit. They might drop something else. And then it blocks really well. They can throw out another X2. This threatens to 2-for-1 them. X4 is also something they can throw out. This will stop them from attacking with it still. So we don't have attacks. We want to make sure we hit red. And Careless Celebrant. Pass the turn, no attacks. Well, they can't attack in with the Dryad. Otherwise, we block and throw the 2 damage on the Dryad. Typhon. Okay, okay. We do have the Timuret to eat it, and the Celebrant still does block the Typhon nicely. So right now it can hold back, you know, much of their board. As we work on continuing to deploy threats, that will stop most of their attacks here. We don't have attacks ourselves. Relentless Pursuit. What are they pitching? Bad Breath Cow. Binding and... well, they're taking the Nyx Herald. That's interesting. They're likely trying to buy back the Blight Breath. So we do have options here. We don't have attacks, but we can eat the Bad Breath Cow before they can do anything with it. And with them pitching it, I'm kind of afraid they have something to do with it. So let's go ahead and try to eat it. And this way, if they do have a response, we can just activate Timuret again, and we'll end up holding up the Thrill of Possibilities to pitch this extra land. And they're scared enough of it that they want a final death. We have to decide. I think we just go ahead and eat their yard away while we can. They have escape stuff. Keeping their yard low seems like it would be valuable. And we can actually just throw them in the yard ourselves. Oh, wait, hold on. That's not a sack. Alright, I don't know if we particularly want more lands out on the battlefield at this point, but it doesn't hurt, because we're still holding one to pitch to Thrill. That gives Indestructible, but not Menace or anything, so I think here we just Lamia and throw the Rage Hound into the yard. Feels a little bit bad that we have a rare, that we pack one, picked one, to throw our best escape card in the yard, and our best escape card is Underworld Rage Hound. So I'm a little bit sad about that, but what are you going to do? Venomous Hierophant. So this opponent's heavy escape. We should watch out. They have Mogi's Favor, which means they'll be able to kill the Celebrant at will. Which means it's going to do a lot less good of a job holding this back right now. We do have this to deal 3 to something. They're showing Typhons. Do we have any good way to beat, an escaped Typhon? I don't think so. We do have a final death. I take that back. We have one final death. So the question is, are we digging for final death? There, I guess, still at least a turn or two from getting that out at 7. They are only showing 5. Here we're probably just dropping Rage Guard Berserker. And we can give the Indestructible to the Lamia. That gives it a good attack where we'll gain some life off of it. Put them to 15, put us up to 22. Let's just go with it like that. They're probably well, if they escape the Mogi's Favor, they have less fuel to bring back Typhon. So maybe they don't do that here. They're really doing the self-mill stuff. Acolyte, This is a nice green-black self-mill deck the opponent has going on. They're down to 15 cards. So, unfortunately, I don't think we win before they just deck us. They win before decking, becomes an issue for them. Although with something like that, they're now down to 13 in library. We might be able to pull stuff and sack it. They get a Typhon back. See, do they attack? We're holding them back pretty well, at least. Alright, at this point, let's just go ahead and Thrill, pitch this extra land. We could hold another land for another Thrill, but let's just get a War Leader out there. There's our sack outlet. We have 2 Portents in here that we can use to sack things. This also holds back their 4/4s nicely. And again, I don't think we necessarily have attacks. Yeah, we may end up having to wait on them milling themselves. Not a great plan, but it's something. We might also be able to Portent of Betrayal, steal some things, throw it at their face, and maybe that's good enough. The Mogi's Favor is extra. Alright, there's a final death. So when they bring something back, we have an answer for the first one. We don't have the cards to actually bring back Rage Hound yet. They're not willing to attack yet. They could have a mass pump thing. But here, let's just hold up our 2 instant speed things. The Herald is not the thing I'm worried about. That can only pump their enchantment things. and they're really self-milling. So this mill strategy, I think, is going to be our best way forward. Ooh, Nylia. Jeez, opponent. Alright, they escaped the Chimera. I'd rather use it on the Chimera just because that has 5 power and can attack into our stuff right now. If we put that in the yard, they're going to end up trying to keep doing stuff, and this gives us a scry. So let's just keep them off having quite so much power. I don't like that here. Important's sort of what we're looking for. Okay. We have another land to pitch to a Thrill. Keep looking for our stuff. Wow, deck. Alright, we have no more Thrills. We put the thing that can also discard to the bottom. We don't really care at this point. We can go ahead and put out the Hound. That might keep him off of attacking for one more turn. So yeah, let's just go ahead and do that. They've been so scared to attack. They don't have anything in hand either. So yeah, they can Mogi's Favor take that out, but then that's also going to eat their yard. They'll have less to escape these Typhons. And we can throw the 2 damage just right on the Temple Thief. We can sack it in response to give that thing an extra point. Which could matter on the attack. They bring back Loathsome Chimera once more. They've eaten up enough of their yard that they don't have too much left. They still don't... They've just been scared to attack. Oh, deck. Well, alright. I guess we have to attack with the Rage Hound here. We'll see if they want to trade something off. Or just take 4. They would be best just taking 4. Alright, sure. We have enough to just bring it back. And we have nothing else to do with our yard, and it still holds up Final Death, so yeah, let's just do that. Keep our board as stocked as possible. They're down to 6 cards in library, drawing a lot of lands. Let's see, they have 11 out. None there. 12. 13, 14. So it's likely they have 3 lands still of their 6. That's nice. If they really do have 3 of 6 being lands, we got there. Okay. Well, the opponent was definitely not being aggressive enough for their deck, and we were able to, you know, answer their stuff well enough, and we had a Final Death in hand. I think they just milled over the wrong things, I guess. Well, this deck that I didn't have, you know, ton of hope for, already 2-0. Let's keep it going. Alright. 2-drop, 2-drop, and then we have a 4, and later on a 6. If if we pick up a thrill, we could just pitch it to try to find more action, but I like this. Some early plays. And I think we'll lead with the Oracle. It attacks just a bit better than the Celebrant. This is a little bit better late game when it sort of threatens to, you know, trade for two things. Opponent showing they wanna probably splash some things. And they're running the appropriate number of cards. Started with 40. They could just go black Myers Grasp. No, okay. That's nice for them. Not willing to trade yet. Let's just throw down a 1-3. They can't attack. We can't attack. We're stalling out a little bit. Green, white. Well, alright. So this is the second opponent in a row to have Dryad. I think Dryad does go later on Arena than it does elsewhere, but that's still funny. So yeah, let's just max our mana here. Drop a 3-4, no attacks. Looking for sacrifice synergies, our Portents of Betrayal. We have 2 of them in here somewhere. Stealing their Dryad, sacking it. The Warden doesn't sack, it's the other one that sacks. They have the ultimate fixing. Taps for everything. So they could be running crazy 5-color. We'll never know what they're holding up. We have to just look at the total CMC. Moss Viper makes me want to drop the Celebrant. The Celebrant can take out the Viper as just sort of a bonus. Lampad of Death's Vigil. Alright, we'll go ahead and drop that, drop the Celebrant, threaten to probably just pitch something. No attacks. Hovering over all their things, that's interesting. Now that they have the Lampad, we can't actually steal their stuff if they have even a single mana up, because they'll be able to just sack it in response. So that makes our Portents a lot less good. Alright, we have Thrill, but we also just have our 6 drop. I want to get out there. With that, we'll be able to actually sacrifice the Celebrant to throw 2 damage on the Viper and spin it for another card. Any lands we draw, we can pitch with the Thrill. Load up our yard, try to find more action. We got 28 cards in here still. 11 lands. So we're a reasonable chance to hit something here on any given draw. Staggering Insight, okay. They don't have attacks with... Okay. So, we should be able to sniff out a combat trick here. Question is, how blown out can we possibly get? What they want us to do is they want us to throw the Shaman on it. It looks like that's clean. I can guarantee that it's not. We can throw the Maze Warden on it. And if they still want to kill it, you know, that's not the best, but it's also not the worst for us. So let's just do that. We're not going to let them have the Shaman here with a trick. If they want the Maze Warden for a trick, I'm okay with that. Okay. They traded a trick for that. I'm kind of okay with that. They did gain a bunch of life. Ah, wonderful. So, we actually don't have enough mana to port and pay this ability. But we'll definitely be looking for it next turn here. We're going to... No attacks. We're going to end the turn. And we will go ahead and sack this Careless Celebrant. We'll be able to kill the Moss Viper. And we can pump something, but it doesn't matter. But we just did... We got a 5-4. They should have sacked it to the Lampad. That's a misplay on their part. And now we have that Rage Scarred Berserker, which I'm a lot better trading for the Dryad. Of course, here, we now have the mana to Portent. They could... What can they do? They could sack it in response, but they're getting rid of their good enchantment and their good creature. And I'm kind of alright with that. So yes, they can sack it. We could have waited for a better opportunity, but they have to sack their best thing. And they didn't. So we'll bottom the land. We steal it. And, I mean... They can trade... They can just trade 1-for-1 for the Berserker. How does that affect things? Am I happy doing it? Yeah, because we get to take out their Lampad and their Setessan Skirmisher, so it's a 2-for-1. And we'd get to hit him with the Dryad. Now... But we'll definitely take out, you know, these two things. Happy about that. And we draw the card. And now we end the turn. And we get to sack their Dryad. For another Oracle. Seems good. Seems good. They have the Apathy there. That's fine. And we have swings with both Oracles now. And yep, they're gonna double block one. I'm fine pumping this twice here to kill one of theirs. We gotta get through their defense at some point, and now... Let's say Mire Triton attacks on this board. Let's say go Mire Triton. And we don't have the mana to pay for that. So yeah, they'll go ahead and exile it now what they can, but it took them, you know, a lot of their turn to do so. We'll hold Final Death for something that's more scary. Here we just have good attacks. I think I'm fine trading the Mire Triton at this point. And we're not gonna use the Oracle Pump right now. I'll hold up Lampad activation and hold up Final Death. That's something we don't mind Final Deathing here. I mean, it's not a bomb, but it's big. We'll get it out of here. And just keep getting in there. If they want to trade, again, okay with that. We could just pitch the Thrill here. Oh, opponent had all the right things. I think we do pitch the thrill here. Okay. Well, we at least have the Fateful End on the Moss Viper. Throw that to the bottom, not gonna help us. And we unfortunately don't have an attack because of the auto tapper. Whoa, Strider. Woof. That's a great top deck for them. Now this Oread's gonna dig us down into our library. Maze Warden here is fine. We do get the pump on that guy. It doesn't matter. We still don't have attacks. We will be able to get him with the Oracle, because no matter how they block, it'll exile one of their things, and I'm kind of good with that. They're just trying to set up a draw. They like what they saw. Alright, give everything trample. That's good for them. Another war leader. I guess we just try to sort of go as wide and as big as they can. They're winning the decking war, so we have to find a way around that. Don't have attacks. We have a bit more life than them. Have we seen Timorat yet? Timorat gets us out of this to some degree. Timorat comes down and eats their board. Well, not their board, but eats their yard, and then their escape stuff doesn't really matter. That's an out for us. So Timorat's a good draw for us. What else is a good draw for us? We got 13 cards. We know that we're not hitting the mountains. Woof. They just want their little snack back out. They could have gotten, you know, the Dryad back. They could have held on to that for when one of their things died. Not quite sure what the logic in doing that is. Hey! Let's eat their graveyard. We'll just do all this now. I wanted to empty their yard as much as possible. This Timorat's giving us some hope here. Getting to eat away their yard means their late game's not as good anymore. Gains us a bit of life. We didn't save one for if one of their things died, but I'm kind of alright with that. Yeah, the Lamia's still left. And we have Portents of Betrayal, but they have a Woe Strider as a sack outlet. We're losing the Milling War. So let's just go for it. Rage Hound isn't bad, it's at least recursive. Oh my gosh. Holy lands, Batman. I don't even want to thrill. That puts us way behind. We can do this to pitch the thrill. We'd have a third land for our Rage Hound if we get it. Alright, Final Flare's okay. Yeah, the snake is making it so that we don't have great attacks. We do have a portent. I think we still have a second portent in here, though. Let me double check. Yeah, we have a second portent in there. So one of our next 4 is portent. One's Lamia, one is Ragehound, and maybe there's one more land. I could think about it a little bit more, but here... I still like just no attacks. They get a scry. Portent Final Flare wrecks their board. And then maybe we can get there? Oh, but all these snakes. One Mogi's favor and we're looking so much better. Alright, let's think about our out. So let's do this. Eat up their yard so they won't be able to escape anything. There's our portent. So if we portent steal Woe Strider, they can't sack Woe Strider in response, because Woe Strider says another creature. If we try to portent anything else, they can sack it in response. So... oh, it is 4, isn't it? And we want to also have a Final Flare. So let's steal Woe Strider. Land to the bottom. And we can attack in here. So I like attack, attack, attack. Actually, let's hold back on that. Let's attack with that, though. Attack here. We could attack here. We could attack with one War Leader, give Menace, but then what I want to do is I want to sack Woe Strider with the Final Flare, take out their Typhon, and then Timuret eat both. So we can't actually use this extra 1 to give Menace. So let's just attack with those 2. See how they want to block. Okay, our trample gets over that at least. So we can go ahead and connect to get damage. And now what we can do is exactly like that. We want to target Typhon, sack Woe Strider. And then Timuret eat both. Okay. This became a lot more manageable. We have ways to be alright now. Other interesting thing is this. Is we can Ragehound here. We can pay 1... sack Ragehound. We then have enough to escape Ragehound and use up everything here in the yard that we've accumulated all game. So Ragehound is infinite menace triggers on these bad boys. So here, if they want to trade for it, they have to do so unprofitably. This also, they can't really trade profitably. The other war leader I don't like attacking with here, so let's just do this. That's fine. They only have the 1 creature. Yes, that could have gotten big, but we have sort of something we want to be doing here. And let's end the turn with mana up to Lampad Sack or Timuret Eat. Astra. Well, that's going to be a pain in the Astra. Our last card is the Gravebreaker Lamia. That's kind of funny. Here they don't have attacks. We don't have great sacks, so we are going to eat. Alright, that will make escaping the Ragehound cheaper. So, how do we want to do this? If we give Menace, let's give Menace by sacking... Oh, probably just the Lamia, don't we? Because it can attack. I guess the Oread. The Oread's sort of done its job here. Let's sack the Oread. Give that guy Menace. We could give 2 Menace. What does that do? They can block 1. We get in with the rest of the team. That's lethal. We sack the Lamia that just came out. They can only block 1 War Leader. We have the Lampad sack on it. We got there. Wow. That one was not looking great for us. They had a pretty great board built out, some real big fatties, and we managed to find a line that got us there. Our last 2 cards are lands. So we got there by the skin of our teeth, but we absolutely got there. Yeah, they should have Lampad sacked. That was a big part of it. That got us 1 card, which helped. Yeah, well, it actually drew us a card. We were able to sacrifice it to get even more value. So yeah, they sort of punted it away by not sacking that with the Lampad there. I don't think they realized that we had the ability to sack it. What is it? The opponent is upset and is tanking. I think they actually exiled it. Yeah, the Dreamshaper Shaman let us sacrifice their thing for 3 mana at end of turn. I don't think they saw it and noticed that that's how that interaction worked. Yeah, they took the extra 4. They had Miss Life. It's all of those factors came in, and that was one tiny, small percentage point play that happened many turns ago that allowed us to win this game. So our deck was not as good as the opponent's deck. Arguably they have, Astra, they have a bunch of good escape cards, they have a staggering insight. What did we see? We saw Typhon, we saw Woe Strider. They objectively had the better deck here, and we were able to get there through pretty clean play. Yeah, so I don't think this deck is super sweet, but we have played it to its maximum, and it is rewarding us heavily right now. This is great. Yeah, it also helps when you top deck the exact card that you say, hey, I need this card to win, and it shows up. So 3-0. Let's keep it rolling. I think right after the draft, if you had told me this deck would go 3 wins, I would be happy enough with that. If you said it would go 3-0, I said, you're talking about a different deck. Oof. Swamp. We got to mulligan this. We don't have a turn 2. We have a turn 3 with rights, but it feels kind of slow. Alright, now we have that. Let's go ahead and keep, and Final Flare is an answer, and it works well with the Celebrant, so we'll keep that. Let's pitch the Portent for right now. We have ways to shuffle it up. find it again, but that's not a card we're looking to have right now. Karate Death Elk. Wonder if they were around when Oka was big. So we could Celebrant. I don't like that trade. Oracle, they have to at least have an enchantment to get the attack. Let's drop it. Alright, that's an enchantment. They get an attack here. They're going to get to put a wall down, which will slow us down quite a bit. And right now, only showing white, potentially even mono white. So 3, we don't want to Final Flare anything. We do just have a free attack here. And rather than pumping, we'll throw out the Celebrant. That might be able to dissuade some of their attacks. Yeah, I think there was definitely a chance at having a good blue-red deck. I'm thrilled with that opponent, thank you. And with that, we could just drop the Maze Warden. But the other thing that we can do is we can Final Flare. Well, let's make them attack. I don't feel like they're going to use their turn to exile the Celebrant. We have an attack with the Oracle. We could threaten double pump. Let's see if they want that. Alright, we can double pump it to take out their wall, but I think I like just developing the board. Let's let them get used to just taking that. What I'd like to do is have them drop, you know, a good 4-drop, and then we can sack the Celebrant. This does not get rid of its abilities. Well, woof. Okay, opponent's removal central over here. Alright, we get our 5th land. Still like just getting in here. We could double pump, but I like just keeping them under pressure. We'll keep them. We'll tell them that that's a fine block. They can make it all day. They don't know we have something else here. And that actually does have a reasonable attack. We could sacrifice the Celebrant in response. Yeah, I kind of like, let's just hold the land for now. And let's tell them, we're going to try to sack the Celebrant. The way they can get around it is by going ahead and activating the ability, but with that on the stack, we can go ahead and use the War Leader's ability once again to actually get the sack. And if we drop this, we actually do threaten the double pump there. And at this point, I think I like that better than just holding up Final Flare. Exiled their token, we're going to show them. Okay. This opponent has shown just white removal after white removal spell. That's good for them, and they're not taking any chances of us being able to do more sacrifice stuff. They're getting rid of it. Wise call, opponent. They don't have anything I want to Final Flare right now, so we're just going to double pump. Try to put them under some pressure here. Let's go ahead and get in there, and then drop the Lamia, get the Rage Hound in our yard, keep putting them under pressure here. Herald Ragehound. And we do have one Lampad sack. And I think that's lethal, opponent. We should have pumped. We'll do this. Alright. Well, we missed the pump, but we got there anyways. They had some really nice removal, but they used it on some maybe less than stellar things, and we just ran them over with enough threats. 4-0. Let's go into game number 5. Yeah, Pious Wayfarer aggro can be good, but there's other times like that where it just looks bad. Here, this would be a mulligan, except I see a Thrill of Possibilities, so we can pitch like this Rage-Scarred Berserker to just keep looking for other things. You know, if it doesn't look like things are going well on turn 2, we'll just go ahead and fire that off. With another land, we have something else to do. We'll see if we're under pressure here at the end of their turn. Yeah, we could discard land. Just to try to look for action. Let's see what they find here. Dreadful Apathy. So yeah, we want to just play. We'll want to play something small. And we'll pitch a mountain so that we have double black for Timurat if it shows up. Alright, that's great. If they want the Mire Triton, they can have it. Mill over 2 really nice 2-drops. A little bit sad, but that's alright. If they want to trade these, I'm fine with it. And they'll end up probably having to use their removal on this. Three, 4 for 4. That's fine. And it threatens to smash him pretty hard. Okay, Omen. Make some 1/1s. We want our Lampad out. That's our sack outlet for this portent. For these portents. We can still use the ability, but it can't attack or block, so let's just Lampad. Pass. I guess we should have used it there, but if they put this ability on the stack, we'll sack it. That's pretty nice for us. Gives us something to do. Yep, and we'll go ahead and do it once here. If they try to fire it off, we'll just activate the ability again, but they don't have full control, so we got that. And there's our 5th land. They don't have anything we want to steal. So let's just drop the Lamia, go ahead and put the Ragehound in our yard to start using these cards. And it's a great target for the Berserker trigger. No attacks. It's only 1 damage, and they likely have another Omen of the Sun. Would have blown us out. Alright, another Dreadful Apathy. Now that it can attack, I don't mind having more lands here still. We are just going to Rage-Scarred Berserker, but let's go ahead and Well, what do we want to do? We could Underworld Rage Hound and the next turn get the Berserker. I like that a little bit better. That way the trigger actually does something. It'll pump that. We can sack the Lamia for free right now. We can also hold up the Final Flare just in case they do something else. And we could use the Gravebreaker as the Final Flare. Alright, we are going to get to do that here. So we were rewarded for not just sacking the Lamia quick. We're going to Final Flare, target that, sack our Lamia, save our dude. Fight doesn't happen. That worked out very well. Still like just having mana here. Let's go ahead and drop the Rage Scarred, pump up the Hound, let it get in here. And if they play some other big fatty, we can Portent, steal it, sack it to the land pad. We can use this before it ever lands. How many Dreadful Apathies do they have? Wow. Do they have another one? Are they gonna go get a fourth? No, they get Mantle of the Wolf instead. Although, if I read my cards right, we would get the wolves if we steal the thing they put that on. So let's do that. Ragehound has to get in there. Ragehound will unfortunately trade for 2 tokens, but we'll just bring it right back. And we still have 1 Lampad activation. Yep, we will steal and sack whatever they put this Mantle of the Wolf on. We're not even going to block it if it decides to swing in. Skirmisher. That blocks pretty well. Okay, how much mana do we have? We got 1, 2, 3, 4 used up for the Portent, so we won't actually be able to Fateful End something as well. But let's steal this and plan to sack it. We don't need more lands. We have to get in there with Ragehound. Let's go ahead and send in the Pilgrim as well. And I think we get the wolves here. I'm not an expert on these rules interactions, but... Oh no, wait, it was theirs. Oops. We weren't ever going to be able to outplay that. But their 4/4's taken care of at least. They're 5/6. They get some wolves out of it. Blessing to take out Oracle. We'll sack in response. This Lampad has been doing a ton of work here. So they're attacking. We're gonna just go ahead and block damage. Enough in hand. And we could steal another one of their things with Portent and sack it. But here I kind of like, let's just Timurat. And There are ways to get stuff back from the yard. Otherwise, I just like cast out the Rage Hound so that we had a decent blocker. I still think we do that. They have to top deck something. And yeah, they have the ult to scry them a little bit, so it's not just a blind top deck. And if they find something, that's great for them. But we will end up... We have this Fateful End, which could potentially not blow them out, but help mitigate a blowout, although at this point we probably just have to use it to kill the Pegasus. Alright, let's play our land. So we could Portent Steel Pegasus, Fateful End something on the attack to maybe help blow him out, and then hold End for face. Oh, I guess it does 3 to any target, doesn't it? So yeah, let's go ahead and get the Sunmane Pegasus. That's their way of gaining life here. I missed that End could go to face. We don't want lands, we want to keep drawing action. Rage Hound has to get in there. Timuret doesn't have a good attack. Yeah, that's fine. And we'll go ahead and sack this. Drain them. And then we can hold up end of turn, use Timuret. They get some more scries, but they're at the mercy of, you know, pseudo top decks. Destiny Spinner. That's a bit bad for us. Let's just Timuret eat their creatures. Four drains to the kill. And we have some amount of just keep getting back this Rage Hound, which should keep putting pressure on them. And I think any more lands will start holding them for Thrill of Possibilities or Oriads. Well, one Oriad. So yeah, Fateful can go to face. It can also kill Destiny Spinner. Destiny Spinner can animate their lands. Are we scared of that? They're what? 2/2 lands. So I don't think we're scared yet. We have 15 cards. We know the bottom 2 are lands. There they have a Pious Wayfarer. We'll keep using Timuret to eat their yard. Let's get this Mantle of the Wolf out of there and the Pegasus out of there. That way, if they do find any escape cards, they're basically dead. Keep eating the creatures, gain life, get out of range of any aggro they might find. Alright, land will now hold on to it. This Rage Hound has to get in there. And we'll have 2 options. Let's see how they block. If they want to trade Destiny Spinner, I'm all for that. They're going to trade a land for the Rage Hound. That's a little bit of what I was afraid of, holding on to this. We should have killed the Destiny Spinner. Now, do we care? Do we want to eat their land, or do we want to use the land pad to sack this first? Yeah, I think the right move is probably drain them. We are so close to the win here. And I'm just going to go ahead and do this once. Eat up some apathies. Yeah, one more creature and we just get there on damage. Even if it's a... Whoa, alright. Oh, that's fantastic for them. Well, let's eat their yard. The drain kill no longer works. Because we won't have Lampad. So we can use Timuret once more. Eat their last card. And then we can Lampad drain them. Oh yeah, it's 1 damage short right now. We just have to manage to find a way to push 1 more damage. Oh, land. Not what we want to see. Come on, deck. You can get there. They can fire up lands to help their process. Alright, War Leader's nice. And, I feel like we really need to take out this Destiny Spinner or we're just going to lose to it. Yeah, we're 1 damage away, but that 1 damage doesn't matter if we're dead. And we'll get a Scry. This can get Menace, so they have to hold multiple things back now. It drastically changes this race. It's Thrill. Go looking. And even then, they don't have the all-out block. If they block with everything, how do we deal with that? They have 1 card in hand. If they get a trigger there, we can take out that and 1 token, or just the wolf. And those both feel kind of bad. We can also bring back Ragehound. We can also just drop Dreamshaper Shaman. Hope to go big. I'm afraid they have a trick here. The pauses are making me a bit anxious. We're not going to take this. Oh, we can't. We didn't play the land. Yeah, that doesn't really matter. We'll do this. I just don't want their thing to resolve. Alright, we got another War Leader. We can War Leader and Ragehound here. And that's just going to put them under a ton of pressure. Missed the land. So let's just put them under pressure. And we can go ahead and attack here. We'd eat several of their things. And it's at least a force block. Yeah, and let's see, how do we want to do this? We got 4 to swing around. I'd rather kill more things, so let's do it this way. Because at this point we just have it on board. And opponent sees it that we have it on board. Yeah, we were able to pivot away from the drain. It looked like that was our way to win. Unfortunately, the opponent had just the right answer at the right time. And we pivoted from it, had some decent draws, and were able to get there. So 5-0 with a deck that I would have been surprised would have gotten 3 wins total. So I am ecstatic with this. Let's see if it can get all the way there. And now that I have said that, it will instantly jinx us. Yeah, the drain route looked so promising. I saw it that way, and it's like, all right, we got it. But then it just, 1 point away. All right, we got a 2 final flare. It's a little bit rough, but let's go ahead and keep it. We can start using this ability if we need to get rid of, some of our 5 drops to try to find more action. Speaking of 5 drops, if we can get to 5 mana, this looks great. So this is our sack outlet. This is just a boy. Ooh, 5-drop tribal. Look at that. Alright, we could attack in. I don't think we are, though. And I think we want our sack outlets more than we want just a 5-4. Alright. No blocks. Yeah, we're gonna pitch that, go looking for lands. Hey, and we find something good to play here. We're just gonna go ahead and drop that. And we have a free attack, but they just bounce. I guess they could be afraid of Mogi's favor, and we just sort of told them we don't have that. So maybe it was right to attack there, but this is blocking that nicely enough. Horn Beetle. Oh boy. And Eidolon Construction, okay. So if they attack, I am absolutely blocking opponent. Not quite sure what they decided to do there. And I'm more scared of the Horn Beetle than I am anything else. Alright, we found that next land. Let's just go ahead and drop our Lamia. Tutor up our thing, and we have a 4/4 lifelink. There's the Rage Hound. And no attacks. It's holding off the Eidolon just fine. We got 2 removal spells. Liking how things look so far. Heliod's Pilgrim, they likely go find like a Dreadful Apathy. Hydra's Growth. Well, we threatened to blow that out pretty good with either one of our removal spells here, so... And... we could do it now. We could just Final Death it away, and it's gone forever. We could Final Flare, get rid of this Oriad, but then we don't have a follow-up play. I like it. Let's attack him with the Lamia. If they happen, they won't have a trick. This is just going to gain us some life. And let's just drop another 5-drop. It will still be in range of Final Flare next turn. And if not, we do have the final death. So they were tapped out. It could be correct to just fire it off there, but I think we can use the final flare. If they have a way to protect it, we'll still have the final death as the backup plan. So let's go ahead, get in there with the Lamia once more. I guess we can also hit him with the War Leader. Just kind of put him under pressure. Tell him to deal with it. And they Omen of the Sun. So let's see how they decide to block. Alright, they're just chump. But now we know what they had in their hand. We can go ahead and final flare with no regrets. Yeah, we could have played and sacked the Rider, but that Oriad was not doing a ton for us. Yeah, it could help rummage away some lands here in a minute, but I think they're just going to be under a bunch of pressure now. We've gained a bunch of life. Let's just throw out the Stampede Rider. It's going to be a 3-4 attacker. They don't have great blocks anywhere. And we're going to be able to hold up a final death to blow out basically anything they try to do. We could throw out Rage Hound and Oracle first, but let's play around a trick. Yeah, the Oriad's been great, and the Thrills have really... They've been able to draw us just deep enough into our library some games that we've been able to pull out victories where I don't think we otherwise would have had them. This could be the +2/+2. Alright. Let's just go ahead. Get a 2-for-1 there while we can. They have to find something pretty great to get around what we're doing at this point. Their board's empty. And they scoop it up. Clean living. Well, this deck is 6-0 right now. Let's just jump in. Let's see if it can get there. Here we go. We got 2 fouls to give. We gotta win one of the next 3 games to max out this event. Let's see if we can get there. Bunch of 2-drops. Can't quite get Timuret. That's a little awkward, but this is a snap keep. We can just throw out a Rage Hound if they got nothing else early. Just put them under early pressure, or just drop our 2/2. Right now, looking like no early pressure. Let's go ahead and get the Rage Hound on board. Grove Dancer threatens the trade. Of course, if they're wingsing it up, maybe they're not interested in the trade. So let's go ahead and throw that out. Attack in. Okay, if they take the trade, then we know that we can develop our board. And in this case, I like going Timuret. It threatens to eat stuff in their yard. And it attacks basically the same as the Oracle. Nothing from the opponent. So they could have instant speed stuff. Nothing in red gets something on the board that could kill Timuret, so I think we have a free attack here. And let's go ahead and play the Oracle, hold up Thrill, pitch this land, keep looking for more stuff to do. We can also Timuret eat something. But let's just keep the pressure up here. look for some more action. Fill the graveyard for this hound. And here we have one free pump on the Oracle and then drop the Lampad. Putting the opponent under pressure. They're struggling on lands. We have one removal spell here. And opponent scoops it up to bad mana. So, on a deck that I wasn't sure would get 3 wins, we have gone 7-0, and we're going to add this to our decks so that we can play with it more later. But if someone showed this to me, I would not peg it as a 7-0 deck, and yet we got there. Lamia, just having a single escape card in the Rage Hound was all it really needed. Put the Rage Hound in the yard and keep reanimating it. That drained the opponent of resources. The Thrill of Possibilities played out very well. Nice call on that one, Cool Trainer. This just let us dig well. And let's claim our prize, get our gems, get our packs. And let's end this by going ahead and cracking open a couple of these packs, see what we can get. Gold wild card. Nice. Yeah, the deck managed to find ways of winning at the end game, and that it was a more grindy red-black deck, and it turned out very, very well. I'm very pleased with that. And I learned something tonight. I hope everyone else takes something away from this as well. And the Lion. Yep, mana sinks. Yeah, the Temple Thief, I would not have been nearly as happy with it as I was with the Thrill of Possibilities. Absolutely. So that's all for this one, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching, and I will catch everyone in the next one.